I'm Sharon Morris from Rochester's only local television station, Channel 4. I think all of us would agree we certainly live in interesting times. The cost of gas, the cost of food, all rising. I think we're all a little uncomfortable about where we're headed, but I want to talk to you today and introduce somebody to you that's helping a lot of families feed their children over the weekends. I am with Elisa Campbell today, who is involved with KidsBridge. And I would like for Elisa to explain to you, our viewers, exactly what KidsBridge is all about.
KidsBridge was a program that was started in the fall of 2009, and its intent was to fill the nutritional gap from Friday afternoon to Monday morning in the schools. The kids are given a backpack full of food that they can take home and share with their siblings or their parents. They're provided food at breakfast and lunch at school, but when they go home on the weekend, sometimes there's no food for them. So this backpack is there to provide that nutrition.
Sure. Well, as I was saying in my opening statements, it's terribly expensive to go to the grocery store, even for the smallest family. So when you add 2, 3, 4 children into the picture, it is a substantial amount of money, probably in some cases more than a house payment to feed a family of 5 or 6 or 7. So
right. When we began the program, the food pantry that we use is advertised that it would save a family over $600 a year in food payments, because you have to remember that we're only giving them food that's supposed to be for Saturday and Sunday.
Sure.
It's not their entire grocery bill, but yet $600 is $600.
Exactly.
So.
And we all, growing children, we all know, I mean, they want to eat, and they want to eat a lot, and they deserve to eat a lot. So
And they want to eat when they want to eat sometimes.
Exactly.
So this puts the food right in their hands.
Sure. I do want to mention that, as Elisa said, KidsBridge began in 2009. And a year later, in 2010, early 2010, you won the Shining Star Award from the Rochester and Lake Manitou Chamber of Commerce for community service. The KidsBridge program did. So it's a program that has certainly been recognized by the community, but at the same time, our concern was that not everybody was aware of KidsBridge,
Right.
and we want our viewers to be aware of it, because there possibly could be more people out there that could benefit from KidsBridge, which sort of leads me right into where I need to be, because I want to have an understanding of how people can become a recipient of the KidsBridge backpack.
Well, the process is a little confidential, only because I and my team of volunteers do not have any doing in the selection process. And the reason being is because we don't want to show favoritism
Sure.
or anything like that. The administrators at Columbia and Riddle, they start with the list of recipients from the free and reduced lunch program. From that point, then, they look at families first that receive free lunch, because obviously financially those are the ones that are the most needy.
Sure.
Then from there, they qualify them based on siblings. We try to only send one backpack per family home, because the backpacks do have enough food in them to feed 2 or 3 siblings in the home. So we would rather send it home with somebody that has several children in the home than just one. And then from there, really the administrators send home a permission slip, information about the program, and then it's up to the parents. And you'd be surprised, at Riddle, when we just began in the middle of January, I believe they sent home close to 60 permission slips to get the 26 kids that are on the list currently. So we either have misinformation about the program, people honestly don't need the help, whether it's because of food stamps or they're getting some other assistance that they don't feel like they need it. And in some cases, it's just pride.
Sure. Well, and that's what I really liked about your previous statement. It is confidential. The volunteers don't even see the names. You see the first name of the child, but you don't see the last name. So set the pride aside. Feeding your children is much more important than pride. So
Right, and the only people that even see the first name of the child is the person that's checking in the backpacks. The backpacks are labeled with a number, and they check that in. But for me to know what child gets what number, I had to figure out a way to do that. So I have dropped last names and done it that way.
Okay,
So, but
good.
there's really only a couple people that even see that first name, and they don't know what school that's at, and they definitely don't know what teacher that's going to.
Sure. So it's just for the elementary schools, then, is that correct?
It is.
Columbia and Riddle.
It is. Yeah, we began at Columbia because we felt like the need was greater in the younger kids being able to feed themselves. Possibly there was nobody there to take care of them, an older sibling, for instance. And then as money became available, I qualified for a Fulton County Community Foundation grant this year, and that helped me jumpstart a program over at Riddle. So I was able to
good.
get
Okay.
20, I started out with 24. We now have 26 kids over at Riddle that are on the program. We do only have third graders right now, though, because we felt like we wanted to eliminate one grade and then move on as finances became available.
Sure,
So
okay.
that would be our goal, to increase as.
The backpacks themselves,
Mhm.
not the food in the backpack, but the backpack, who provides that?
Well, in 2009, when I was doing fundraising and trying to get the program started, I put boxes in buildings and put ads in papers, and so they have all been donated. And as we get holes in the bottom, or hate to say it, but as some get too smoke-filled, or some have had animal
Sure.
instances, we have taken them aside and replaced them with new ones, but all purchased or donated.
Okay. And the children receiving the backpack actually receive the same backpack every Friday before they go
Right,
home.
they do, and that's why they're numbered. One of the reasons we do that is because of allergies. We've also found glasses and papers and such
Oh.
in the bag, so we like to return what's
Yeah,
there.
sure, absolutely. Well, where does all the food come from?
We have partnered with our food bank for our area, which is Food Finders Food Bank in Lafayette. And they have a great backpack program. I wish I had statistics, but they do counties all over the area, and they do hundreds of schools.
Wow.
And so we get the food from them. It's a predetermined menu, and it's a predetermined price. So we know that for $5 a week, we will get a backpack full of food, or enough food to fill our backpacks.
Okay. So do they have like a nutritionist that probably works with their program in Lafayette
Yeah.
that decides exactly what's going to be included?
I don't know if they always have, but I know recently our menu has changed. And the reasoning was because they had a nutritionist from Purdue come in
Oh, that's wonderful.
and talk
Okay.
to them and go through what they were currently providing, how they could make it better. And now some of the food, I don't want to say it's more complicated, but some of it is because we're including a recipe card, if you will. And so we'll give them all the fixings for spaghetti one week, and the next week we'll give them all the fixings for chili or chicken noodle soup, and they give a card. Now, of course, it's not going to be from scratch anything, but and we're not going to mix up hamburger for the chili, but they get a can of turkey to put in it to make turkey chili.
Sure.
So we're requiring a little more participation on the part of the family as a whole rather than just the kids in some cases, where before it was pop open a can of ravioli and
Sure.
eat it. So we're trying to make things more nutritious. We may have made things a little bit more complicated, but we're hoping that it doesn't hurt the families any. There are usually older kids in the homes, and very easy. I have a 6th grader. In 5th grade, she definitely could have followed these sample instructions to make a can of spaghetti for her brother.
So we're not just talking about snack items. I mean, there is actually a meal.
It's actually a meal.
It's wonderful.
And there's several of those. Every week, they get breakfast food. So every week they will get a carton of milk, and it's considered a shelf-stable milk. It does not need to be refrigerated until it's open. And I have brought it home before because people have always asked, what does it taste like? It tastes like regular milk. Now, I wouldn't suggest drinking it warm, but you can right off the shelf. And then refrigerated it, pour it on cereal, whatever. Every week they get either a box of cereal, a full-size box of cereal,
Wow.
and they get packets of instant oatmeal with just water required for that. They get lunch menu items such as macaroni and cheese, the spaghetti. They always get fruit and vegetable cans every week. And then they get snack items such as pudding, granola bars. We've had fruit roll-ups before. It really depends on what companies have donated, which would make up the menu.
Sure.
So, for instance, the Quaker screwed up on their packaging of their granola bars. They're supposed to be in rows of 10. They were only in rows of 9. Well, rather than throw those all out, they donated those to the food pantry. And now for over 4 months, our kids have had a huge selection of granola bars.
That's
Every
nice.
week go home with them. So that, we used to have ramen noodles and stuff, and we've replaced that with egg noodles and penne pasta, so that they can have different experiences, really, because they get kind of bored with the same stuff
Yeah.
after a while. They do get peanut butter every third week. Protein is very important. They get canned tuna, chicken, or turkey. So we've done a good job as to making sure that the kids are getting nutritional things, and it's not just junk food that's going
Sure.
home with them.
Well, I'd say you've done a very good job. Let's talk about the whole process. I want our viewers to understand how much work is really involved in this, but how gratifying it is at the same time. Let's start with the food coming from Lafayette. Where does it go? Where is it stored? Do people come there and do all the packing? What happens after it's packed? I'll let you take it
Okay.
from there, please.
Well, every month, the food comes from Lafayette. It is shipped on a box truck, and we have 2 stops. Since we started at Riddle, we make them stop at Riddle for us because it's so much food that I don't want to have to carry it back and forth. Riddle has generously given me a closet to carry all the food, or hold all the food. And then once we have the kids help us unload that, we travel over to the church, Faith Outreach Center, which has really been the safe house for all of the activity for Columbia kids. And there, with a lot of retired volunteers and just a lot of stay-at-home parents, we unload the truck. We have a hallway in the back of our church that we unload all the food to, and we try to sort it according to what it is. And then from that point, we take inventory. We make sure they give us what we asked for or what we need for the month, and then the process for the weekly distribution starts. I have to go over to the school every week and collect the empty backpacks.
So you do that on...
I try to do it every Wednesday afternoon. The backpacks really should come back on Monday, but they never do. And if I picked them up on Monday, then only a handful of kids would get it packed and redistributed on Friday. So I usually wait till Wednesday afternoon. I go pick them up and I haul them. Thank goodness I have a big truck. I haul them back over to the church where they're counted and sorted to see how many we have. And then at that point, we pull the food off the shelf for that many based on the menu of that week. And then, depending on which group comes in, depends on what time they come in or what part of the week they come in. Like, for instance, the homeschool group comes in the middle of the afternoon. They come in, they pull the food, they count the backpacks, and then they stuff them. Then from there, they get loaded back into usually my truck or somebody else's vehicle, and they get taken back to the school where they wait until Friday afternoon to be distributed. And that's another group of volunteers that I have.
Okay. How does one become a volunteer, or how does an organization, are you looking for more volunteers, or are you okay with the number of people you have right now? Or
the hard thing about volunteers, which if I didn't have them, I have over 130 right now.
Oh,
if I
wow.
didn't have the volunteers, this wouldn't work.
Right.
Because I'm exhausted most of the time.
I'm sure
and
you are.
I have 130 other ones. So I'm always looking for volunteers, but I need to plug them in more at the beginning of the school year. Because what I have found works best is that if I get a schedule set up for the entire school year. So, for instance, right now we have 6 packing groups, so they know every 6th week they're packing backpacks.
Sure.
And then I have a couple high school students that every Friday they come over to Columbia and they distribute the bags. And then I have the same class at Riddle every Friday morning packing the bags and distributing the bags. So if you're a single person and you want to come help, I can plug you in anywhere. If you're a group, like your business or your cheerleading squad or something, and you want to help, then let me know, and when I make the new schedule, I
Sure.
can plug you in. Because what's required after that point is that I would need to come in and train you on the week that you were packing, so you knew what you had to do, so I didn't have to be there every week when that happened.
How can people get a hold of you, Elisa, if they would like to contact you?
Well, I'm in the phone book. Sean Campbell's my husband, so you can look it up there. It's 223-4499 is my home telephone number.
good.
Otherwise, Faith Outreach Center, anybody there can help you or pass you on to me.
Okay, good. How many kids right now are currently involved in the program? Do you have any idea? I'm sure you do. But
Yeah, I do. I have a really good idea. We have 52 kids at Columbia that are currently on the list and 26 at Riddle. And it costs $5 a week per child, or throughout the whole school year, $200 per year for one child or one family to get a backpack every weekend.
Are you always looking for contributions if somebody wanted to, if they didn't have time to help but wanted to make a financial contribution? Are people allowed to do that, or?
Actually, we need the financial contributions more than we need the physical volunteers. And the
Okay.
reason is because people do have 45 minutes a week every 6 weeks more often than they have the finances. If it wasn't for the individual donors or the corporate donors, the people that just give me $25, $50, $200 every once in a while, this program wouldn't succeed. Because it is a lot of individual effort. It's not a big corporate program.
Right.
So when I started it, I started with an idea and a church behind me that said, you can use our building. And that's how it got started. So slowly but surely, we've gotten the bank account to the point where I know I can get through this school year and get started next year. But it's always a day-to-day kind of, okay, how much do I have and what are the bills?
As you can see, there's a lot of food that is needed to make this program successful, and the food is expensive. I'd like to go out on a wing and just appeal to the businesses in the area right now. There are a lot of schools, corporations that have this program running, and one or more businesses are the sole supporter of the program. It would cost a business approximately $10,000 to support all the food that's needed for the 50 kids at Columbia alone. Now, I know that sounds like a huge amount, but a lot of businesses are able to donate that amount during the year. For instance, in the Caston School Corporation, the Andersons completely supports that project. So I'd like to appeal to you, if you are a business and you have money that's sitting around and you're not sure where to put it, this is an incredible cause, and we would honor the chance to be your supporting cause.
You have to have a great sense of purpose. What you have done is just wonderful, and getting other people involved is just wonderful. I hope you feel good about
I
that.
do. It does get discouraging because it's so much behind the scene work. I don't have interaction with the children themselves, so I don't get a lot of the, oh, I love this program, it's wonderful. But the stories that I hear.
Do you have any that you'd like to share without using any names? I know you don't know
I was going
any
to say
names.
I don't know any names, but there's a couple in particular. There's one, a family with 3 children in it. One goes to Riddle and 2 are at Columbia, or it might be backwards. 2 at Riddle and 1 at Columbia. Either way, the youngest one at Columbia is the one that's on the backpack program, and she brings her backpack home every weekend. But her oldest sister, which is at Riddle, probably 4th or 5th grade, is responsible for cooking all weekend. And the oldest one has told the counselor that if my little sister didn't bring this backpack home, I don't know what I would make all weekend.
Oh.
So I hear stories like that. I hear from one of the teachers recently, she told me that she has a student who says that the backpack has saved her life. And the teacher would say, well, what do you mean saved your life? Well, my sisters or brothers, my siblings leave every other weekend to go with their biological parent, so I'm guessing they're in a step home, and when they leave, they take the food stamps with them. And so we don't have any food at our house when they leave. So if I didn't bring the backpack home, then we wouldn't eat. So it's stuff like that that you don't even realize is going on in your backyard.
Very wonderful program, and that's exactly why we wanted to have Elisa on Channel 4. If you have anything that you can do to help, if you would like to make a donation or maybe get your name on the list to help maybe the next school year, please feel free to call Lisa and your number again?
223-4499.
Well, Lisa, we sure do appreciate your time today. You're a very busy woman with a huge responsibility of feeding almost 80 children, or how many?
All by myself.
All by yourself. But really appreciate what you're doing for the community. Job well done, my friend.
Thank
It's
you.
very heartwarming of some of the stories that Elisa has shared with us.
Well,
So
I couldn't do it without an enormous group of volunteers.
thank you again, and
you.
thank you all for watching, and hope you have a very good day.